1,000 players simulate civilization in Minecraft. In retrospect. Simulating civilization in Minecraft is, well, an experiment built to try and experience what civilization would look like if it was inside of Minecraft. As far as I can tell, the trend started a couple years ago with some videos more related to like how would societies develop in Minecraft and stuff like that, and eventually it turned into players simulating civilization, with the first instance I believe being from Magic Gum. With this shift, we saw two main sort of branch offs from the type of 100 players simulate civilization in Minecraft, with some people going for more unique aspects like 100 players versus a zombie apocalypse, and then other people trying to increase the number of players simulating it to the point that we've gotten at now, where you have creators like Mr. Beast posting 1,000 players simulate civilization in Minecraft. Now I just want to go over what I think are the two main issues that most of these simulations are missing when it comes to what it takes to simulate civilization in Minecraft. The first problem I think that we see with this sort of trend is kind of the overbearingness of whoever's running the simulation. In a lot of cases, we get stuff where it's heavily run by the person in charge, where the way that societies develop, instead of being decided by the way the players branch forward, is more dependent on the person that's in charge of it all, who leads it down a certain direction. For example, in Mr. Beast's 1,000 player simulate civilization, instead of really simulating civilization, it was instead more of a lengthy variation of the walls with some extra factors added in. But ultimately, it wasn't about simulating civilization, instead was about, the PvP that came afterwards and how that was oriented. And likewise, in other situations of this, there's many other people that also made these sort of simulate videos that have some big grand war event at the end, instead of letting the players decide if and when they'll go forward with wars themselves based off of stuff like natural resources and availability to get items. In my opinion, a much more fruitful way to set up these sort of wars would be instead to limit resources of certain civilizations to the point that the only capable way of getting it would be from other civilizations, and let them fight it out amongst themselves. The other problem that many of these videos have is the lack of incentive there is to do well. In real life, we have incentive to, get more comfortable, plan out a future, whatever. But in the Minecraft simulations, there isn't really much of an incentive for people, for the most part, to do well, besides in Mr. Beast Challenge, which had other problems, specifically the fact that everything was very laid out for how it was intended to go. So that lack of incentive causes it just to feel really ungenuine in the way people act, for the most part, as a lot of them are just kind of there to mess around and not really pursue the simulation through. So as a result, I don't know, it just feels like something that could definitely be improved upon. Going forward, I presume we'll see many more of these sort of players simulating different things within Minecraft, mostly civilization and kind of off-breeds of that. I think that done right, these can give us a great insight to the way that people, kind of act when there's not really all that much incentive, like the law and stuff like that behind them, to see how they'll build up a civilization if you just took a couple random people and tossed them into it. I think that a couple changes that need to be made for these to work well is, I think primarily there needs to be less kind of incentive for certain forms of politics to be put in place, like in some of them where the leader of the civilization is given special items and stuff like that. Very much so discourages systems like republics or oligarchs and stuff like that. So I think overall we could see a much more interesting result if there was just a couple changes made here and there to improve the base formula, and Yeah, if we saw some of that, I think that this could be a great experiment going forward to further kind of tell how people think with this sort of stuff when they're put outside into kind of a unfamiliar situation. One thing I do, however, think that a couple of these have done a great job of is properly giving limited resources to certain civilizations. I do think it would make it more interesting for that if, say, tick speed was turned down, because you do end up with stuff like where the desert biomes or whatever can very quickly mass produce wood utilizing just a single sapling to quickly have as much as they need in comparison to the other civilizations. So I do think there's a couple changes like that that could be made to better improve the relation to scarcity of resources, and that would also give more incentive for people to wage war with other nations in situations where they are out of food and stuff like that, but due to the time it takes to collect more, they might have to journey into other civilizations to try and acquire resources from that. And how well that would work would remain to be seen, but it's part of why you form the simulations, to kind of test some of this different stuff. And I think that that would definitely be something that could create an interesting perspective for how the people interact with each other. I think the last thing that I'd be interested to see would be a bit more emphasis placed on shelter and stuff like that. Probably add in a mod that adds some form of gravity to make building a bit more difficult, and then give incentive like based off of seasons and temperatures and stuff like that to actually have shelter put in place. I don't know, just, a thought for that. I don't know how well it would work, but I definitely think that it would give an extra aspect to this sort of simulation that'd be really interesting. And I think that's part of the point of all this, is to figure out interesting ways to simulate different aspects of life within another medium like Minecraft. And how well all this would work obviously would have to be tested, but yeah, I think this formula has a lot of work to be done. I've greatly enjoyed a lot of the videos that have been put out on this topic beforehand. And yeah, hopefully we continue to see a lot of these kind of more simulation style videos to simulate more different aspects, and maybe I'll make another video on it if there are. Anyway guys, let me know what you all think about this trend in the comments below. And yeah, that's it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one. God bless. Bye bye.